What's up everyone, it's the Martial Commander, back with another Star Wars video. And today we're going to be going over what happened when Padmé, one of Padmé's handmaidens, found out about her secret marriage to Anakin Skywalker. So let's begin diving into Queen's Hope by E.K. Johnston, and begin. "Where is Padmé?" a harsh voice demanded. Padmé was pulled into a sitting position on the bed, the blaster flying out of her grip across the room to crash against the wall. She tried to shout, to raise the alarm, but she couldn't move or make a sound. "Where is she?" The question was repeated. The lights came up, revealing a tall figure in a brown Jedi jerkin. His handsome face was crimped with suspicion and barely concealed rage. Padmé gestured to her throat, and the feeling of pressure all around her relaxed. This is how our story begins. Anakin bypassing the security protocols and entering the room of his beloved wife, but through the Force he could sense it wasn't her. Not knowing who it was, he quite literally almost killed Padmé. Luckily though, the lights also revealed who she was, and C-3PO came in and saved her. The two of them stared at each other at an impasse, until C-3PO wandered into the antechamber, the lights turning up to their brightest setting as he entered. "Master Anakin, it is you," he declared. "I'm quite pleased to see you again. Did you happen to bring R2 with you? I imagine the little scoundrel has managed to survive all manner of firefights." "Oh, and Anakin?" Sabe cut off the rambling droid. "Anakin Skywalker from Tatooine? That hasn't been my home for a long time," he replied. He relaxed a little bit. Seemingly, C-3PO's acceptance of the situation put him at ease. "You're Padmé, aren't you? The Shadow, the one I met?" "Yes," Padmé said. "Padmé called me back here to pose as her while she went on a mission for the Senate." "Is it dangerous?" Anakin said. It was like he was going to fly out the window in hot pursuit if given the slightest idea that it was necessary. "Is she in danger?" "No," Padmé said. "Well, not any more than usual. Captain Typho is with her. I assume you know how protective he is." As we continue through this story and the two begin to recognize each other once again, Anakin relaxes. This was a very awkward moment. At this hour, the only woman he'd ever expect to see was his wife. Not a woman living her life as a job. But for now, it'd have to do. Padmé, on the other hand, was putting two and two together as he stood there, worrying and caring for her close friend who was in this scandalous situation. His manners were still impeccable, like when he was a little boy, but Padmé remembered. He was the one who had programmed C-3PO in the first place. Several pieces of the puzzle that was Anakin's presence fitted together neatly in her head. "You and Padmé?" Padmé said. Anakin bristled, like he was ready for a fight. "It's none of your business," he said. "I'm in my nightgown and you are in my room," Padmé said. "I think it's at least part of my business." Anakin started. He looked down at his hand, flexing his newly tuned metal fingers inside his glove. "I love her." And then, like it was a dare, "She loves me." It all made too much sense, why Padmé had disappeared on Naboo, why the schedule had changed and why the staff had such a new routine. This was why Padmé's evenings were free. This was why her handmaiden slept on the floor below instead of in the penthouse suite as they used to. She hadn't done it for herself, not to make a separation between her career and her personal space. She had done it all for him. Padmé continued to dig in, wanting answers, even though she already knew the truth. Her face displayed anger. No. Sadness. No. What her face displayed was a mix of both. It was jealousy. How could Padmé, her closest friend, the woman she served loyally, not tell her of this marriage? It wasn't the first time some had fallen in love with Padmé, but it was the first time she'd fallen in love. The conversation continued. "You're angry," Anakin said. "That doesn't bother me. I'd be angry too if she picked you over me." "That's not how it works, Jedi," Padmé said. "Padmé's heart is infinite, and she loves many, many people. Not to mention her feelings about duty and her job. If you haven't figured that out yet, you will soon enough." "Maybe," Anakin said. He didn't sound entirely convinced. Padmé rubbed the bridge of her nose and shivered. She remembered that her nightgown was sleeveless and that Anakin was letting all the carefully regulated air of her bedroom drift into the antechamber. She'd been having such a lovely night too. "Let me find a robe," she said, and paced over to the wardrobe. She picked one at random, hoping Padmé hadn't worn it too frequently, and went back to the bed to down her glass of water. "All right," she said. "Since you're clearly not going to leave until I give you a full explanation, here's how it is. Padmé is on a mission for the Senate. I don't know all of the details, and I wouldn't tell you even if I did. She's safe, she's with Typho, and she's doing her job. I am filling in for her because the Senate needs her. She's a reliable figure, and she has many alliances with other factions that her close colleagues do not. Is that enough for you?" That was indeed enough for Anakin, though due to the security protocols being bypassed by him, he was now locked in and forced to stay the night on the couch. They had a small conversation before both parted ways and went to bed. Now what came after this? As the morning came, Anakin was already gone, and Sabe had to get ready to speak in front of the Senate as Padmé. Helping her get ready was another handmaiden, Dorme, the first and senior handmaiden to the former queen, now senator. "I had a visitor last night," she said neutrally as Dorme put the finishing touches on her hair and straightened her collar. "Oh?" Dorme said, and then, "Oh shit." "Pretty much," Sabe said. "Are there any other secrets I should know about before they show up in my bedroom after 3 glasses of Tony Ray?" "That's the only one I know of," Dorme said. "I'm so sorry. I thought you knew." "Padmé didn't tell me," Sabe said shortly. There was an awful silence between them. "And are you okay?" In that moment, Dorme's pretenses and professionalism dropped away. For a heartbeat, there were 2 girls who shared a secret with their friend, even though it made them uncomfortable. "I'm upset to find out the way I did," Sabe said. "But it's not like this is the first time someone has fallen in love with her. This is just the first time she's fallen back. She told me once that if she ever did, it would be complete and consuming. And I guess she was right. She was angry and upset, but there was no one here to be angry at, and she hated being upset with Padmé. They would talk about it calmly when Padmé got back. Years ago, after the Harley Jafan incident, they had agreed to talk about any issues that arose between them as soon as possible. And now, Sabe had an issue. Here we can see just how Sabe feels. Will she betray Padmé? Absolutely not. But she is hurt. How could she trust another handmaiden but not her? She truly believes she served the most loyally and would be the first one she'd come to about anything. After all, she would lay down her life to not only protect Padmé, but her secrets as well. We continue through the story, and we can truly see that Sabe is affected, but still faithful to her best friend. Dorme also remains loyal, though now she can finally speak on how Padmé is taking a risk that could get her in deep trouble. Together, they decide that the best course of action to avoid these scandals would be to tell Elle and Mote, 2 other handmaidens who would need to know. After getting permission from Padmé, of course, especially since Anakin wasn't very good at keeping it a secret, obviously. "I'm going to request to tell Elle and Mote when Padmé returns," Dorme said. "They'll have to know. Padmé is the soul of discretion when it comes to organizing trysts, as I am sure you can imagine, but Anakin is as subtle as a drunken Gundar." "I noticed," Sabe said dryly. "I don't envy you." "Of all the scandals she could have picked," Dorme said, "of all the scandals she's been accused of." Now, that is the end of this story. We can see she reacted pretty poorly at first. After all the handmaidens care about Padmé deeply and want to keep her out of risky situations at all costs. But sometimes that's not possible. This story does actually have a very good conclusion though. Anakin and Sabe make up after he apologizes, and they actually even admire each other's dedication in defending and caring for Padmé. Though he does scare her now, which you can't really blame her. Sabe also confronts Padmé, but the 2 do become friends once again. Though their friendship never really ended, they trust each other once more. Sabe does end up leaving her position as a handmaiden though, because the war is far too much for her and she is no Padmé Amidala. Now, I will leave you with this final passage of 2 friends forgiving and moving forward. "Your husband says hello," Sabe said after a few moments of silence. All of Padmé's defenses slammed back into place. Sabe knew it was a habit, necessary for survival even, but watching from the outside was not something she liked at all. The hurt it caused was almost immeasurable. "Sabe, Padmé began, but Sabe held up her free hand, the other still moving through Padmé's hair. "We didn't exactly have a lot of time before you left," Sabe said, "and we always put work first, but it still hurt to find out from him." "I was selfish," Padmé said. For someone so tiny, she rarely seemed small. Now it was like she was folding in on herself. "Having you back with me was so wonderful. Even though things were different, I didn't want anything to change. I was wrong, and I'm sorry." "Thank you," Sabe said. Anyways, that is all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to go read Queen's Hope. It's a very good book, and it is canon. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. May the Force be with you.